In the headlines, military plans to transfer 613 rehabilitated terrorists to state of origin. Mixed feelings greet removal of traditional title holder in Bauchi State. Curfew imposed on warring communities in Ondo State. Away from Nigeria, Mali escaped sanctions over detention of 46 Ivorian soldiers. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, says that 613 rehabilitated, low-risk repentant terrorists will be transferred to their state governments for reintegration into the society. Irabor disclosed this on Thursday in Abuja during the 5th stakeholders meeting of Operation Safe Corridor. Represented by the Chief of Defense Training and Operations, Major General Adeyemi Yekini, the CDS said that 613 repentant terrorists are currently undergoing de-radicalization and rehabilitation handled by the OPSC. He said that the meeting will exhaustively discuss the de-radicalization, rehabilitation and reintegration program ahead of the transfer of the rehabilitated clients to their state governments. The coordinator of OPSC, Major General Joseph Maina, said the program has successfully processed 1,573 clients, comprising 1,555 Nigerians and 18 foreign nationals from Cameroon, Chad and Niger since its commencement in 2016. Operatives of the Bauchi State Police Command have reportedly killed several bandits and kidnappers during a gun battle at the Yankari Game Reserve Forest in the Alkaleri local government area of the state. The State Police Public Relations Officer Ahmed Wakil, in a statement on Wednesday, said that the command recovered 2 AK-47 rifles from the bandits. He said during the daring operation, several bandits were neutralized and dislodged from their enclaves, while the remaining sprinted in disarray into the deep forest with possible bullet wounds. He added that operatives of the Anti-Kidnapping Unit Base 4 of the command arrested 2 suspects who confessed to have kidnapped 4 people and camped them in the Yankari Game Reserve Forest and collected a ransom of 20 million naira. Now, the dethronement of Bello Kirfi as Wazir in Bauchi is generating mixed feelings among residents of Bauchi State. Bauchi Emirate Council announced the removal of the traditional title holder for being disloyal to the state governor, Bala Mohammed. Adamu Imam has more on this.
Bello Kirfi, a former minister in the Second Republic, was stripped of the title of Wazir in Bauchi, a senior councillor and a kingmaker in the emirate for involvement in politics. The letter of his removal was signed by the council secretary, Shehu Mudi Mohammed. Some residents of the state said the development could affect the reputation of the traditional institution that is supposed to be insulated from partisan politics.
It's unfortunate. A politician can just remove a traditional ruler. I think something has to be done. A line has to be drawn. The traditional rulers, the politician, and the rest. So it's just unfortunate. I hope the issue will be settled amicably. I am not happy with the situation, honestly. I'm not happy.
He also said that the traditional institution and the government should not be seen working at cross purposes.
The civil servant, they do not have any party or the government but the government of the day. So anything that goes against the government of the day cannot see it. To my own opinion, is not welcome. Just keep your idea and stay safe, maybe for the time being.
Others, however, said the governor should not have influenced removal of a respected traditional title holder in the state.
I can't even say I'm not happy, and the people they are not happy. They're supposed to think before they do. Also, they have to find out about what somebody doing. You could just take somebody just like that.
I'm not happy at all. What happened to him is unfortunate. The best idea for me those politicians, they should mind themselves.
Development in Bauchi State is ahead of any politician or any stakeholder. Wazirin Bauchi, Bello Kirfi, is the elder of Bauchi State. In the elder of Nigeria in general.
One political aide to the governor, as well as the Commissioner for Cooperatives and Small and Medium Enterprises, Saadatu Bello Kirfi, have resigned their appointments barely 24 hours after the Wazir of Bauchi was removed from office. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, on a sad note, a total of 18 people were burnt beyond recognition in a head-on collision involving a bus and a trailer at Nabardo village along the busy Bauchi-Jos Road. Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Bauchi State, Yusuf Abdullahi, told Daily Trust that the incident involved a Toyota bus and a trailer on Wednesday around 4:40 p.m. at Nabardo. Abdullahi explained that a total number of 21 people were involved in the accident. Abdullahi further disclosed that the mass burial of the victims will be carried out by the Nigeria Police Force's social welfare officers. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Ikare, Akoko, the headquarters of Akoko Northeast local government area of the state, following the crisis in the community. According to a press statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Richard Olatunde, on Thursday, the decision was made at the State Security Council and is effective immediately. In the past few days, two youth groups have been attacking each other after a New Year carnival held in the town. It was gathered that some people were killed while shops and vehicles were allegedly vandalized and burnt down by some hoodlums. Security agencies have been directed to ensure strict compliance with the order, just as investigations are already on to unravel the real causes of the violent clash. Kano State NNPP governorship candidate Abba Yusuf has dragged the chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, Abdullahi Abbas, to court over inciting comments and hate speech. The candidate, in a suit filed by his counsel, Bashir Tudun Wazirchi, requested the High Court to, as a matter of urgency, compel the Kano State Police Commissioner to investigate and prosecute the APC chairman over allegations of unguarded utterances that has been creating political violence in the state. A statement signed by Sanusi Dawakin Tofa, the spokesperson for the candidate, said that the NNPP candidate approached the court with a view to reminding the police to do the needful. Dawakin Tofa said that the candidate has written several complaints with overwhelming evidences on the numerous atrocities of the state chairman of the APC, but the police authority in Kano has not acted on any of them. The resident electoral commissioner in Plateau State, Oliver Teso, has warned the commission's ICT personnel against manipulating the bimodal voter accreditation system machines. Teso gave the warning on Wednesday during a demonstration session on the configuration of the BVAS to the REC and the ICT personnel held at the headquarters of the commission in Jos. Ado Musa completes the story.
The Plateau INEC Reg, Oliver Tasso, while addressing staff of the commission during the demonstration session, called on the ICT personnel saddled with the responsibility of configuring the machines to maintain the highest level of trust, loyalty and commitment to their job. He said any attempt to exploit the machines would tarnish the image of the commission, emphasizing that they shouldn't betray the trust bestowed upon them.
I think we need to also emphasize the point he's making repeatedly about taking responsibility for your action or inaction. This is a job of trust, and the commission is very committed on the ensuring that every staff of the commission keep to the code of conduct, to the rules.
Malam Salisu, who anchored the demonstration session, told the ICT personnel to be diligent in their work to ensure a smooth exercise.
We are expecting our numbers, and this work will be paid for, okay? And the payment will come with our data package.
That means we're going to use our data now.
Use your data, yes. You will be compensated with that. And we all know how we work. No, don't worry, we'll share it. I think, okay. Yes. We'll print enough, and maybe we'll do 1 or 2. All of us will see. Then we split ourselves. Everybody will account for what he has done by writing his name, phone number, and signature to fulfill righteousness. Okay?
Meanwhile, the INEC National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said on Wednesday that the Commission's Chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, National Commissioners and senior officials have received the last consignment of the bimodal voter accreditation system ahead of the February and March polls. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how biting cold keep Jos residents indoors. Details of this and more after the break.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists: Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited. Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secured are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Here's a look at the top stories again. Military plans to transfer 613 rehabilitated terrorists to states of origin. Mixed feelings greet removal of traditional title holder in Bauchi State. Some passengers of the Abuja-Kaduna train freed from bandits' captivity in October are battling with post-traumatic stress disorder and other health challenges. The victims of the March 28th train attack also lament worsening economic conditions, having lost their jobs while in captivity and now abandoned to their fate. Bello Musa reports.
These are among the last 23 victims of Kaduna train attack who regained freedom in October last year. After reuniting with their families, they moved on with their normal lives, but then post-traumatic stress disorder is taking toll on them.
So actually, I'm not. Sometimes I'm not organizing my house because even 3 to 4 days ago, while I'm out for a fair, so on my way coming back, I felt to organize the house. I even called my wife to come and lead me to the house.
I forget easily because I'll do something now. When you ask me, I don't remember. Honestly, I forget easily.
Though free from captivity and in company of family and friends, they live in isolation due to some psychological challenges.
I'm battling with fright, honestly, because each time I hear any movement or something, I used to be afraid. I even used to dream of some of our lifestyles there. At times, I used to feel I'm not even at home.
I can't sleep. Sometimes like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I will just stand and crouch and shout. Sometimes I will just open door and run away from where I am sleeping.
Dr. Joseph Sagale is a consultant psychiatrist, and she highlights some of the health challenges traumatized people face.
The main symptoms that they would have would be what we refer to as like flashback. So they keep reliving the experience as if it's just happening again. You understand? They just find that it's something they can't control. So they just find it re-happening. For some of them, they may have nightmares. So at night they sleep and they just have dreams of the whole event all over again or something worse than what has happened. You know, they would have physical numbing. So they become uninvolved, both physically and emotionally. They just tune off from people around them.
Meeting the needs of the family is difficult as most of them lost their jobs while in captivity.
I work in a private setting, but before I traveled, there is somebody under me, so I gave her the job to hold for me. So when this thing occurred, getting to 190 something days, so she has already getting used to the job. So
the biggest challenges I'm started facing that is house rent. The man asked me, I say, I don't have that such amount for down. He told me that you meet Buhari. I say, you meet Mr. President. I say, meeting Mr. President, that means that I get money.
In terms of the long-term effect, because of the incidents that they have witnessed, that is like a stressor on its own. So it may predispose them to having a mental illness in later life. Maybe they could have difficulties with coping, they could have depression, and then if they face another life event, that could also serve as a trigger.
These freed passengers said nothing has been done to address their health challenge, even though government officials have taken their contact. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now, residents of Jos, the Plateau State capital, are battling to keep warm from biting cold weather. Ado Musa reports that the biting cold has forced many residents to remain indoors in the morning. Take a look.
Jos, the Plateau State capital, is known for its pleasurable weather condition, but the biting cold is changing the narrative. The residents of Jos said the cold weather being experienced within and outside the state capital is toll on them, restricting their movement. The weather leaves residents with no option but to wear cardigan to keep body warm. Sellers of second-hand clothes such as jackets, sweaters, socks among others are however making big business. Some residents share experiences on the cold weather condition in the state.
Though a person like me that was born and brought up here in Jos, it's not a surprising. It's a time that we experience this kind of harsh weather. But actually, this time is actually the weather is chilling.
Since morning all the time, Tom. I wake up in the morning. It's not easy to take ablution in this weather with cold water.
Extremely cold because waking up very early and then having to do a little bit some chores actually, and then touching the cold water. I mean, sometimes it delays me, and sometimes when I realize that it's cold and then I have to go and touch water, I would have to just push it backward a little bit and say maybe when the sun is out, I'll go and start doing what I'm doing. But it's really cold. You can see me dressed up in my cap and in the trench coat.
Onoja Desmond Sunday, head of Water Resources Unit of the National Center for Remote Sensing, JOS, speaks on the sudden low temperature in the state.
Plateau will be the corridor of this trade wind. Having to receive this wind, it comes with its own peculiarity as well. As the winds, the cold wind ascends the elevation, that is the plateau that is on a high altitude, which is even more than 1,000 meters above sea level. The cold air coming in contact with a micro cold air on the plateau will now become intense, and everybody will feel the cold as it is, giving rise to the temperature that we recorded in recent time as low as 8 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius.
According to the National Center for Remote Sensing, the cold weather between December last year and January this year is lower than that of the 2021-2022, which stood at 5 degrees Celsius. This year, however, the center said the lowest temperature so far is 8 degrees Celsius. The center warns residents that increased cold might be experienced before January ending. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
The increasing popularity of cesarean section delivery among women has been largely attributed to factors such as genuine medical reasons, social considerations, as well as unethical motives by obstetricians to generate profit. Experts nonetheless maintain that it should only be done when medically advised. With a potential for reducing maternal neonatal mortalities, there are, however, some concerns over how it has become a preferred option among some expectant mothers. The report.
Cesarean section, better known as CS, is popular among expectant mothers hoping to escape the excruciating pains of labor. However, experts say it is only essential in situations such as prolonged or obstructed labor, fetal distress, among others.
We can have eclampsia or preeclampsia. Preeclampsia is basically when there is high blood pressure plus the presence of protein in our urine, and then eclampsia plus seizures. Because once a woman has high blood pressure, we keep on trying to bring down the blood pressure, and if we can't bring down the blood pressure, then that's just definitely CS.
Lucy Luzar Olanio says despite her fears, she had to go through a cesarean section delivery due to complications that affected one of her twin babies in her third trimester.
When it was almost time for me to put to bed, like when it was almost my due day, the doctors confirmed that one of the child was breech. So that was why they suggested that I go through a cesarean section. But for the sake of the child, because you need to save your life and also the life of that child.
Lucy says although CS delivery is fast and smooth, post-surgery healing is a challenge.
But the disadvantage is the healing process. For me, the healing process was a disadvantage part for me because it takes a longer time for you to heal than when you give birth the normal way. I get to feel pain once in a while though, you know, beneath where they cut me, I used to feel pain sometimes.
Each individual, they have their own time to heal. But in the hospital, we look at the injury for about 2 to 3 days. And then we see that your baby is okay, you're making good progress. We check your blood level, everything is fine. And then we check the injury, no form of any infection, is clean and is dry. During the procedure, there can be an injury somewhere that they shouldn't expect. That one could also be a complication too as well.
Contrary to popular beliefs in some quarters, different religions advocate medical intervention when necessary.
God does not hinder anybody who wants to go under cesarean section to be involved in it.
But if you have a leading, you have a conviction in your heart that God tells you that you will deliver without cesarean section, that one is your conviction.
While a cesarean section can be an essential and life-saving surgery, it can equally be harmful if carried out when there is no medical need. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, away from Nigeria, Economic Community of West African States on Wednesday said it will not go through with a threat to sanction Mali for jailing 46 Ivorian soldiers, preferring to give time for Togo's mediation in the diplomatic spot to bear fruit. Malian authorities detained the Ivorian troops after they arrived at Bamako airport on July 10 to provide backup security for a United Nations peacekeeping mission, accusing them of being mercenaries. The move sparked diplomatic tensions between Bamako and Abidjan, which has decided not to replace its military contingent with the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali when the current group rotates out in August. Of the 49 soldiers who were initially arrested, 3 women were freed. However, the court sentenced them to death in absentia in its December 30 ruling. The troops were found guilty of an attack and conspiracy against the government and seeking to undermine state security. And in sports news, Chelsea have signed defender Benoit Badiashile from Monaco on a 7.5-year contract, and Badiashile, 21, has spent 5 seasons in Ligue 1 and made 135 league appearances for Monaco. The central defender, who made his senior debut for France in September against Austria, has joined Chelsea on a reported £35 million deal. The Frenchman has featured in the Champions League and Europa League for Monaco, making almost 150 appearances in all competitions. Graham Potter's side sit 10th in the Premier League after earning a point against Nottingham Forest on Sunday. The club are currently without defenders Wesley Fofana, Reece James and Ben Chilwell through injury. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.